That's not to say they won't have to be administered later, but from a quickness and efficiency standpoint, to try to get back out there, I did a little bit of business negotiating on the table.
Okay. In terms of the game, I mean, the last few days, Bud and all you guys talked about sort of getting back to ball movement, getting more players involved, things that clearly that seemed to be a talking point and then early a goal. How did you guys see that play out throughout from start to when you guys won the game?
I think it was better. I think we took a step in the right direction. I think, we can still improve on it. I think, we're a team that during the regular season, we didn't struggle to score. And part of that was due to ball movement, people movement, making the right play, creating for each other, things of that nature. And I think we definitely took a step in the right direction today, and it showed. We had flashes of it. We did it more than we didn't do it. But I think there's still obviously room for improvement and still things that we can do. But, the intensity, the competitiveness, the physicality, the things that we need to do on defense in order to give ourselves an opportunity to improve on that offensive side of the ball is where we need to, continue to work at and continue to do.
I realize the bench mob, the limits are limited. Minutes are limited. But Bobby, 2 blocks. I think you had 4 steals. Bryn, a couple kind of timely threes. How, I guess, just for you guys as that second group, it's been a little bit of a struggle these first 3 games. How important was that for you 3 to sort of find if not a rhythm, at least make some kind of impact plays?
I mean, that's kind of what we pride ourselves on. I think there obviously was room for improvement from the first 3 games. I also think the ball movement helps us as a bench mob. I think, it kind of gets us in the flow of the game, and it may not always be for shots. It may be for, creating for others and just getting, a little bit of a rhythm by touching the basketball. But the defensive intensity, the blocks, the steals, the activity has to be there regardless of when we're in the game, how long we're in the game, or what's happening on the offensive end. And I think we took a step in the right direction tonight.
Eric, name?
I know you're boys with a couple of hockey players. Are they going to say you need stitches? Like, what's the rules there?
No, I think I already got a text from my buddy Colin, who plays for the Rangers, and he told me that I was already out of the game for too long. I don't know. He was like, I don't know what took so long back there.
For you guys, PJ's been such a big part of the mentality you guys have been trying to kind of instill over the length of this season. Just what do you think of the physicality that he brought specifically in that matchup with KD?
I think it's contagious. It's something that we need. And obviously there's times that we need it more. There's times that we need it less, depending on how the game's being called, from an officiating standpoint. But we need the intensity there all the time. The physicality, you can turn it up sometimes, you can turn it down sometimes, but the intensity has to be there at all times, and it's contagious. And I think, he's been one of the most fun guys to play with. His communication, his energy level, his effort, it's there regardless of what else is happening around him. And, he starts the game on Kevin, and he makes it tough on him. And obviously that's a really difficult assignment, and you can't always judge how good of a job, how well he's doing by the box score and by the stats, because it's obviously a tough task, but to make him work and to put him in tough positions and give us a chance to, rebound and run is what we ask.
You mentioned the ball movement. Just what do you think of Giannis's ability? A lot of times I know on the spin move, they've been kind of digging in. What do you think of his ability to kind of throw that back over his shoulder? That felt like that started the ball movement a lot today.
100%. I mean, Giannis is Giannis. There's really no other way to describe him. I could say beast. I could say MVP. I could say a lot of things, but he's Giannis. And I think as his knowledge has continued to grow over the last 3 years, from what I've seen, there's a lot of ways he can get to the basket, and understanding how defenses have played him, I think, is the greatest step forward that I've seen him take. And, there were a lot of times that he made unbelievable passes tonight and we didn't knock down shots for him. I still think we've yet to have a phenomenal shooting game like we're capable of, but getting those shots and him playing that way in order to get those shots and have other guys get into, even if it's not a rhythm from makes, but a rhythm from at least shooting them and shooting them with conviction, I think it's going to pay off as the series continues to move forward.
Steve McGargy.
A lot of times when a player goes down for another team, they can get some temporary kind of inspiration for at least short term. What was being said in the locker room? I imagine you knew there was at least a possibility Kyrie wasn't going to be back.
Yeah, we actually said it doesn't matter who's out there. We want to make sure that we continue to play our type of game. Obviously James went down in game one. Kyrie went down at one point today, but they have a lot of talented individuals and a lot of talent as a collective unit on that team. And for us, it's about continuing to focus on our brand of basketball, the toughness on the defensive end, the things that, we instill in ourselves and in each other on that end, and then the ball movement, player movement that we have on the offensive end. I think that is the most important thing as we continue to move forward. Whoever is out in front of us, whoever the other team puts out in front of us, I don't think we need to, put much weight into. You got a game plan for them, obviously, and you got to make sure that your personnel, et cetera. But it's more about making sure we do what we do.
Lori Nickel.
2 questions. Has anybody stepped up in like an extra leadership role? Like in the last couple of games, sometimes there's a players only meeting, and maybe you could share any details if anybody stepped up. And then secondly, with PJ Tucker, does his off the court personality kind of match how he plays on the court now that you've gotten to know him a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, he's a great guy. He's one of the best from a teammate standpoint. He's energetic. He's intense. He's a great guy off the court, and obviously he's a great player on the court. As far as leadership, I think it's been collective. I think we just have wanted to stick with it. We grinded out a win in game 3, and I still think we all thought there was plenty of room for improvement. And I think we improved tonight. I think we took a step in the right direction. But having that same mentality that there is still room for improvement, and no matter what happens on the Brooklyn side of things, as far as who they roll out, who can play, who can't play, we need to have that same mentality because, when we went to Brooklyn last, in my opinion, we got embarrassed. It was something that we needed to take, a little more ownership in, a little more pride in, and understanding that, hey, we need to be better, and we need to, find a way to try to get a win on the road. We are the lower seed. We are the team that is going to have to go on the road at least one more time, maybe 2. We got to find a way to win a road game, and we got to bring that tenacity, that toughness, and have each other's backs in a hostile environment.
Thanks, Pat.
One more to Steve Ashburner.
Hi, Pat. If you guys had suffered the loss during the series of, say, Chris Middleton in game 1 and Drew Holiday in game 4, as much as the other team might say, yeah, we don't worry about who's on the court for our opponents, they probably would have appreciated not seeing those guys out there. So I'm just wondering what it meant in the moment as the game was going on. When you see Kyries out and probably not coming back, and already Harden is gone. Even just from both their primary ball handlers are out. You guys had a lot of steals, you particularly, and they turned over the ball a lot. What did it mean as the game was playing out?
Well, first, Steve, we needed to knock on some wood over there at some point in time. That hypothetical, it scares me a little bit. But, I think, you're right. You know who's in front of you. You know the game plan that we have going into a game. You game plan for guys like Kyrie, for James. They're extremely talented players. They're extremely talented individuals, and they help make the Brooklyn Nets go. I think when it comes down to what our mentality has to be, it's always had to be us. We are playing the Brooklyn Nets, but when we play our brand of basketball, we believe that we can beat anybody. And I think over the first 2 games, we played a little bit more similarly to the Brooklyn Nets style of basketball. And I think, part of that's predicated on, just the game itself. But, understanding that whether Kyrie's in or not, whether James is in or not, we have to make sure that we're focused on trying to stop the next man up mentality. And, obviously they're tremendous talents. They're all-star caliber, MVP caliber players. So you want to make sure and that you're having each other's backs when they're out there, but you're still having each other's backs when they're not.
All right, thanks, Pat. Appreciate it.